Welcome to Notebook Nuggets. Today we're diving deep into Nathaniel Branden's The Six Pillars of Self-Esteem. This book, it offers a really solid framework for building, a strong sense of self-worth.
It really does. Many people want more confidence, right?
Yeah.
But Branden argues it's not just a feeling you stumble upon. It's something you actively build.
Exactly. Through these 6 specific practices he lays out, it's about understanding the foundations, really, of how you see yourself and your place in the world.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to unpack these pillars, see how they offer, practical ways to boost self-esteem.
And maybe touch on how it's different from arrogance.
Good point. And also that inner pessimist we all sometimes have.
That inner critic, yeah. A big part of it.
Okay, so Branden actually breaks down self-esteem itself first, doesn't he?
He does. He talks about 2 core components. First, self-efficacy.
Right. That's like your belief you can cope, handle life's challenges.
Exactly. Your basic confidence in your ability to think, to learn, to choose, to make decisions. And then there's self-respect.
Which is feeling worthy of happiness, that you deserve good things.
Precisely. That inherent sense of your own value. He says you really need both for healthy self-esteem. They're intertwined.
And low self-esteem can kind of become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, he suggests that. If you expect negative outcomes because you feel unworthy or incapable, you might act in ways that, bring those outcomes about. It reinforces the low self-esteem.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's get into pillar number 1, living consciously.
Mm-hmm.
This is about being present, right? Engaged, not just on autopilot.
That's the core idea. He gives examples like driving somewhere and having no memory of the journey.
Oh, I've definitely done that.
Or just going through the motions of your day without really being immersed. Branden's point is that a lack of self-esteem often connects back to this lack of presence, not being fully engaged.
Why is that connection so strong?
Well, if you're not consciously aware of your choices, your motivations, your actions, it's almost like you're signaling to yourself that your life, your experiences, they aren't really that important.
Huh. So how do we practice this, living consciously?
It's about paying attention. Throughout the day, ask yourself, are my actions aligned with my intentions? Am I aware of why I'm doing what I'm doing?
So bringing intention to everyday stuff.
Yes. Waking up to your life rather than sleepwalking through it, making conscious choices.
Okay, that feels like a good foundation. Which leads to pillar 2, self-acceptance.
This one's crucial.
Embracing who you are, flaws and all, without judgment.
Exactly. He even mentions psychologists often see 2 types of people.
Okay.
Those who need, let's say, tightening, more discipline, maybe that's less common, he thinks. And those who need loosening, more self-compassion. More common, especially with low self-esteem.
So being kinder to ourselves.
Definitely. Self-acceptance means acknowledging your thoughts, feelings, desires, everything as part of you, not as something alien or wrong.
But that doesn't mean liking bad habits or problems.
Right? Not at all. It's not complacency. It's acknowledging reality. Okay, this is where I am right now. This feeling is real. This thought is here. Acceptance is the starting point for change, not the end point.
So how do we apply it?
Treat yourself like you'd treat a good friend, with kindness, with understanding.
Instead of being our own harshest critic.
Exactly. Be on your own side.
Yeah.
Self-improvement starts with accepting your current reality, not hating yourself into changing.
I like that. Be on your own side. Okay, pillar 3, self-responsibility.
Taking ownership.
Right. Your choices, your actions, recognizing your life is fundamentally in your hands.
He uses that dog shock experiment example.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, basically, it showed how experiencing uncontrollable negative events could lead to learned helplessness. The dogs just gave up, even when they could escape later.
So the opposite of responsibility.
Exactly. The contrast is taking action, realizing you do have control over certain things. It means not playing the victim, not blaming everything outside yourself.
Which can be hard sometimes.
It can, but it's empowering. The practical side is focusing on your circle of influence.
What you can control?
Yes. Your responses, your effort, how you take care of yourself, the choices you make within your circumstances, not focusing on what you can't change.
So shifting focus from blame to agency.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, pillar 4, self-assertiveness.
Standing up for yourself.
For your values, your needs, your wants. But respectfully, right?
Yes. Respectfully and openly. It's about believing you have a right to exist, a right to your own thoughts and feelings. It means not passively tolerating situations that violate your boundaries or values.
You teach people how to treat you.
That's a key part of it. If you don't assert yourself, say, in relationships or at work, you can set precedents that aren't good for you.
So what does this look like in practice?
Being willing to express your opinion, even if it differs. Saying no when you need to. Asking for what you want. But also respecting others' views. It's not about aggression. It's about honest, respectful representation of yourself. Healthy confrontation is sometimes necessary.
Honoring your own voice.
Perfectly said.
All right. Pillar 5, living purposefully.
Having goals. Striving for something meaningful.
Why is this so important for self-esteem?
Because goals give you direction. And making progress towards them, that fosters a sense of competence, of growth. Branden uses the idea that, well, everything in nature is either growing or dying. Purpose fuels that growth.
So stagnation is bad for self-esteem.
It seems so. Having something to aim for, something that pulls you forward, is vital.
How do we apply this? Just set huge goals.
Not necessarily. Define goals, yes, big and small. But the key is consistent effort. Even small steps toward a purpose build that sense of efficacy. And regularly check. Are my actions actually moving me towards my goals?
Keeping that alignment.
Exactly. Giving your life meaning and direction through your own choices.
Okay. And the final pillar, number 6, personal integrity.
This ties it all together in a way.
Aligning your behavior with your values, walking the talk.
Yes, like that saying, character is what you do when no one's looking. It's about congruence. Are your actions consistent with what you say you believe? Are you honest with yourself and others?
Even when it's difficult.
Especially when it's difficult. Acting in line with your values, even under pressure, builds immense self-trust and self-respect.
And when you don't, when your actions don't match your values.
That creates inner conflict, dissonance, and it erodes self-esteem. You can't really trust yourself if you know you won't do what you believe is right.
So the practice is paying attention to that alignment.
Yes. Noticing the congruence or lack thereof between words and actions, being honest about shortcomings and striving to bridge that gap. It's about building trust with yourself.
Wow. Okay. Those 6 pillars are really interconnected, aren't they?
Absolutely. You can see how they'd reinforce each other. Living consciously helps you see where you lack integrity, for instance.
And self-acceptance might make it easier to be assertive.
Exactly. It's a whole system.
Now, Branden also talks about arrogance versus self-esteem. You mentioned that earlier.
Right. He's very clear. Arrogance is not high self-esteem. It's often a compensation, a mask for low self-esteem.
How so?
Arrogance is usually comparative, needing to feel superior to others. It relies on putting others down to feel okay. It seeks external validation.
While real self-esteem is
Internal.
Yeah.
Rooted in self-acceptance, self-respect. It doesn't need comparison. It's like putting your own oxygen mask on first. It's self-care, not selfishness or superiority.
That's a really useful distinction. And what about that inner pessimist, the inner critic?
Yeah, killing the inner pessimist, as some sources put it. Recognizing our brain's negativity bias.
We tend to focus on the bad stuff.
Often, yes. And that inner critic can fuel self-fulfilling prophecies, self-sabotage, that feeling that nothing's ever good enough.
So we need to manage that voice.
Actively manage it. Branden implies confidence isn't about never feeling doubt, but about not letting that doubt run the show. It connects back to self-acceptance too, accepting the doubt is there, but not taking it as absolute truth.
He also talks about self-efficacy and self-respect being the 2 key ingredients again.
Right. Always coming back to those. Confidence in your ability to cope, efficacy, and belief in your worthiness of happiness, respect.
And the importance of action. You can't just read the book.
No, reading is just the start. Self-esteem is built brick by brick through practicing these pillars. Consistent action.
It reminds me of another point, ditching the need to look important, owning mistakes.
Yes, that's a sign of healthy self-esteem. Being okay with imperfection, admitting when you're wrong, not needing to project this flawless image, that takes inner security.
And affirmations, does he talk about those?
The idea aligns. Vocalizing positive beliefs can help shift mindset. Things like, I have the right to exist. I am worthy of happiness. I am enough.
So consciously directing your thoughts?
It can be a tool, yeah. Especially to counter that inner critic.
He also touches on relationships, how low self-esteem plays out there.
Mm-hmm. Fear of not being deserving of love, maybe, leading to behaviors that push people away, ironically confirming the fear.
A painful cycle.
Very much so. Healthy self-esteem allows you to enter relationships from a place of fullness, not emptiness or fear.
And ultimately, with healthy self-esteem, joy becomes the motivator, not fear.
That's a beautiful point Branden makes. Instead of constantly trying to prove yourself or avoid failure out of fear, you're motivated by joy, by curiosity, by the desire to experience and explore.
Seeking growth, maybe even seeking discomfort sometimes.
Yeah, stepping outside the comfort zone. Because you trust yourself to handle it, that self-efficacy again. Each time you do, it reinforces your self-esteem.
So it really is an active, ongoing process, these 6 pillars. living consciously, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, self-assertiveness, living purposefully, and personal integrity.
They form a powerful roadmap.
It's about being present, being kind to yourself, taking ownership, speaking up, having direction, and being true to your values.
Daily practices, really, not just abstract ideas.
Choices you make every day that shape how you see yourself and how you interact with the world. So maybe for everyone listening, think about which of these pillars resonates most right now. Where could you maybe focus a little energy?
Yeah, where's the starting point for you? Doesn't have to be all at once.
This deep dive into Branden's work, it really offers a practical framework for growth.
It's quite profound when you start applying it. You see how connected everything is. Living purposefully might naturally lead you to be more assertive about your goals, for example.
Right. Or personal integrity might require more conscious living to even notice the gaps.
Exactly. It's a dynamic system. Growth in one area often supports growth in others. It can create this positive upward spiral for self-esteem.
A really holistic approach, then. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the 6 pillars of self-esteem. We hope this discussion has sparked some useful thoughts.
Yeah, hopefully some actionable insights.
Now, we genuinely love to hear from you. Which pillar stands out to you? Which one feels like the biggest challenge, or maybe the most impactful right now? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you found this conversation helpful, please give it a like. Maybe share it with someone else who could benefit.
And definitely subscribe to Notebook Nuggets for more deep dives into interesting ideas like this one.
We really appreciate you tuning in and engaging with us. Thanks, everyone.